When I inadvertently traversed into this world, the gentle as chrysanthemum system sought me out. All you need to do is to portray a character who is unambitious and ungrasping, embodying the essence of tranquility. If you maintain this understated persona, I shall bestow upon you corresponding rewards upon the completion of your tasks. I nodded nonchalantly. All right, I have no objections. I shall uphold my dignity. The gentle as chrysanthemum system gazed at me in astonishment. I did not anticipate that you would immerse yourself in the role so swiftly. You are more adept than I. Do not be surprised. Maintain your dignity. It was oblivious to the fact that I inherently possessed a cool temperament, shunning worldly disputes. It was not until the story's heroine, the true-born heiress Chu Qingxi, informed me that she had bound me to a mind-reading system, allowing everyone to distinctly hear my innermost thoughts, that my defenses crumbled. And do take a look at this dress. Do you think it is lovely enough to try on? I gazed at my mother with a stoic expression, responding, "Whatever you think is best, I am indifferent." My mother, with a tender smile, gently ruffled my hair before turning to select dresses. Chu Qingxi leaned closer to my ear, whispering, "Chu Qing'an, there's no need to feign an air of indifference. Just wait, I shall unveil your pretentiousness to all." With a look of bitterness directed at me, I blinked innocently, "Sister, it matters not to me, as long as you are pleased." In truth, while conversing with her, my mind had drifted elsewhere. I was preoccupied with a half bag of Oreos I had secretly tucked beneath the sofa. They were simply irresistible, and I could hardly suppress my salivation. No, I must maintain composure and dignity. "Come along," my mother said, taking my hand. "There's nothing worthwhile here. Let us explore the high-end section." "All right, I shall defer to your judgment." Upon entering the luxurious area, Chu Qingxi dashed towards a dress she fancied, clutching it possessively. "Mother, since my sister claimed she is indifferent, I shall try this on first. What do you think of this dress?" After speaking, she shot me a challenging glance, as though certain I would contest her choice. I pondered how peculiar it is that I address her as sister, yet she refers to me as younger sister when we were born on the same day. Oh well, it is best not to dwell on such matters. I must remain calm. Chu Qingxi appeared momentarily stunned by my nonchalant demeanor, which was entirely contrary to her expectations. My mother, growing impatient, remarked, "Why the fuss? It is not as if we are denying you a purchase. What is the point of this jealousy? Cannot you learn from your sister's composure?" Chastened by my mother's reprimand, Chu Qingxi reluctantly released the dress. As my mother turned to me, Chu Qingxi shot me a resentful glare. I feigned ignorance. After all, I truly did not mind. My mother, concerned that I might feel slighted, gazed at me with increasing sympathy. I quickly reassured her, "It is perfectly fine, mother. Let sister choose first. I am accommodating." Following this exchange, my thoughts returned to the half bag of Oreos. My mother lovingly caressed my head, stating, "Arinin is wonderful in every regard, though she does seem to possess a rather dim-witted demeanor. That is acceptable. I harbored no ill feelings, and I must uphold my dignity." Chu Qingxi successfully purchased the dress of her dreams, yet she seemed somewhat displeased, and I could not fathom why. My mother selected a dress for me as well, but I paid little attention. It mattered not to me. Upon exiting the mall, Chu Qingxi eagerly linked arms with my mother, asking, "Mother, why did you take us shopping for dresses today?" My mother glanced at me, and seeing no sign of distress, replied, "Today, I wish to adorn you both beautifully, for I am taking you to a matchmaking event. Anin is grown now, and should meet her fiancé." I was momentarily taken aback. Fiancé? I was entirely unaware of this delightful news. Chu Qingxi, with a mischievous glint in her eye, added, "But what if her fiancé does not fancy her?" My mother's expression soured. "If he does not fancy her, does that mean he would fancy you?" Chu Qingxi, brimming with confidence, retorted, "That remains to be seen." My mother, exasperated, raised her hand as if to strike Chu Qingxi, but I calmly interjected, "It is all right. Perhaps sister has a point. Mother, please do not be angry." Observing my indifference, my mother reluctantly lowered her hand, saying, "You must strive to be assertive. Who does not know that Gu Nianan is the new elite of our city? Marrying him would surely bring you happiness." Gu Nianan? I was unfamiliar with this name. This new elite seemed extraordinarily new indeed. Chu Qingxi regarded me with disbelief, her eyes suggesting, "Keep pretending. You must be eager to marry Gu Nianan." I began to think again of my half bag of Oreos. Upon arriving at the Goo Corporation building, a young lady courteously escorted us to the president's office. A stern-faced man scrutinized me, as though appraising a commodity. After a moment, my mother spoke. "Nyenin, I have brought in to see you. It has been quite some time since you last met, and it is a good opportunity to reconnect." Gu Nyenin rose from his chair, addressing my mother. "Auntie, I believe introductions are unnecessary. While I am unaware of the marriage contract from years past, I can state unequivocally that I do not favor Chu Qing'an. My affections lie with Chu Qingxi." I was taken aback. How presumptuous he was, assuming he was a sovereign. Idiot. Ugh, I must not utter such words. I must maintain my dignity. Gu Nyenin regarded me, as if I were a lunatic. I stared back, my thoughts wandering to the inviting lazy sofa in the corner. It looked so comfortable. Would I sink into it if I sat down? No, I could not resist. I longed to try it out. My gaze inadvertently drifted toward the sofa, prompting Gu Nyenin's attention to shift as well. I quickly snapped back to reality. My mother, infuriated by Gu Nyenin's words, exclaimed, "How can you renege on your engagement? It was your family that proposed it." He scoffed. "Auntie, given my family status, would I marry a counterfeit?" With that, he pointed at me, adding, "Do not think I am unaware. She is an impostor. Surely, you brought your daughters here today with some ulterior motive. If you wish for my compliance, you must fulfill my conditions." My mother looked defeated. Noticing her silence, Gu Nyenin fixed his malicious gaze upon me, saying, "Chu Qing'an, I intend to marry your sister. Rest assured, whatever you possess, I shall ensure you lose." I stared blankly at him, my mind still occupied with thoughts of the lazy sofa, filtering out his words. Seeing my lack of reaction, Gu Nyenin dismissed me. As I began to inch toward the corner sofa, I feigned a stumble and fell into its embrace. This sensation was marvelous. I felt enveloped in comfort. Noticing that the three in the room had not observed me, I quickly sat upright, retrieving a piece of candy from my pocket to savor. This candy was rather difficult to chew. The crunching noise caught the attention of the trio, who turned their gazes toward me, seated on the lazy sofa. I felt a bit embarrassed. It was my fault. Good things are meant to be shared. I reached into my pocket, pulling out several more pieces of candy. "Would you like some? Come, don't be shy." I struggled to continue as my mouth was full, and I extended my hand, inadvertently pulling out a facial mask. Oh no! How foolish of me! How did I mistake a compressed mask for candy? This expands when it meets water. This was truly embarrassing. However, I must maintain my dignity. What is just a facial mask? Gu Nyenin could no longer tolerate my peculiar antics, asking, "What exactly are you here for?" Holding the mask, I replied calmly, "I said I am here to perform magic tricks. Do you believe me?" Gu Nyenin's face darkened. "You should leave." I shrugged. "Very well, I shall take my leave." I cast a lingering glance at the delightful lazy sofa behind me. It truly was comfortable. There was no way I could ask him for the link. I must maintain my dignity. I would wait for the opportunity to snap a photo and search for it online later. Upon reaching the restroom, my mouth filled with collagen. I needed to rinse. Ugh, ugh, ugh. I gasped. Suddenly, Chu Qingxi appeared in the mirror, causing me to inadvertently swallow the mouthwash. While it was somewhat unpleasant, as long as I remained unembarrassed, nothing awkward would befall me. With a vigilant expression, Chu Qingxi scrutinized me. "Chu Qing'an, have you returned?" "Returned? Returned to the restroom?" I retorted, "Chu Qingxi, that is quite excessive. How could you imply I am akin to excrement?" Chu Qingxi looked bewildered, clearly not grasping my words. She muttered softly, "That shouldn't be. Were you not supposed to vehemently denounce Gu Nyenin, proclaiming you would never marry him, and loudly assert that familial bonds are not defined by blood? Why has everything changed?" I could not comprehend her ramblings, focusing instead on washing my face. Observing my continued silence, she persisted, "Have you perhaps upgraded your tactics? In the past, weren't you always pretending to be indifferent, feigning an air of superiority, while cleverly coaxing others into delivering what you desired right into your hands? Now, I find myself utterly bewildered. What is this situation? How could I be so formidable yet remain oblivious? However, why do I sense a tinge of anger? No, I mustn't succumb to anger. Even in the face of others' accusations, I must maintain my dignity. I gazed calmly at Chu Qingxi. "Sister, Your slander leaves me utterly speechless. With a cold smile, Chu Qingxi regarded me. Chu Qing'an, whatever tricks you play are futile. I have long seen through your true nature. Continue your charade if you wish. She leaned closer, malicious intent glimmering in her eyes. Gu Nianan has already laid down his terms. Mom desires the plot of land acquired by the Gu family. And the condition is his marriage to me, alongside your immediate expulsion from the Chu family. Care to know why he harbors such animosity towards you? Haha, I shan't divulge. I had no desire to inquire further. The following morning, I stood at the entrance of the villa with my modest suitcase, hesitating to depart. Chu Qingxi approached me with a smile. Why haven't you left yet? Hoping to play the victim and have Mom fetch you back?
Dream on.
This morning Gu Nianan called, saying that as soon as you vacate the Chu residence, he'll sign the contract with Mom. You know, if we can't acquire that piece of land, the Chu family is destined for bankruptcy, so don't delude yourself, Chu Qing'an. You aren't that significant. I chose to ignore Chu Qingxi's incessant chatter. Just then, a Maybach came to a smooth halt before me. The window rolled down, revealing Han Jincheng, wearing a malicious grin. Oh, who do we have here? Is that not the esteemed Miss Chu Qing'an? What's the matter? Couldn't resist a hasty exit. Glaring at his infuriating face, I felt an urge to strike him, but no. I must uphold my dignity. I glanced at my phone, and then at the immature Han Jincheng, deciding against any confrontation. Han Jincheng, clearly relishing this opportunity, smirked. Miss Chu, what captivating content holds your attention on that phone? Awaiting a gallant prince on a white steed to rescue you? Surely, you're not still counting on that betrothed fiancé of yours? At this, both Han Jincheng and Chu Qingxi erupted in laughter. I felt resigned. Han Jincheng and I had been childhood friends, yet since first grade, he had regarded me as his lifelong rival. The reason? During our childhood games, I often teased him, claiming he was my offspring, and this simpleton took my words to heart, trailing behind me and calling me Mama. Both of us were left behind children. He had never seen his mother since birth. Over time, the other kids in our neighborhood came to know me as his mother. He held a grudge, from first grade onward. After the teacher explained what parents were, he began to oppose me at every turn. Seeing my silence, Han Jincheng dropped his playful facade. Chu Qing'an, come home with me. I'll protect you from now on. Chu Qingxi seemed to have uncovered a monumental secret. So that's it. Chu Qing'an, you've been feigning pity all along. I wondered why you so readily left the Chu family. It turns out you've secured a new benefactor. Haha, just yesterday, I questioned whether I had misjudged you when you called me sister. Who would have thought, you wretched girl, would remain unchanged? Han Jincheng, oblivious to the deeper implications, interjected, what? Chu Qing'an pretended to be pitiful for my sake? After pondering for a moment, he continued, haha, don't think you can deceive me with such poor acting. I'm far too clever for that. I looked at him helplessly. His stubbornness was infuriating. The way he spoke made it seem as though he was not caught in my web, but rather enjoyed the dance. Watching the two of them banter back and forth, I grew anxious. Han Jincheng, move the car away. I have a delivery arriving just 200 meters away, and with 30 seconds left until it reaches the battlefield. If you block my way, my package won't get through. As I spoke, a deliverman on a white electric bike appeared behind Han Jincheng's car. Excuse me? Which one is Chu Qing'an? I have a package for you to sign for. Upon realizing I indeed had a delivery, Han Jincheng quickly moved his car. After signing for the package, I opened the box to reveal a brand new electric scooter, fully charged. Mounting my beloved little motorcycle, I sped away, leaving Han Jincheng and Chu Qingxi wide-eyed in disbelief. Time to start my job, I thought, exhilaration bubbling within me. No, I must remain composed. Dignity is paramount. After leaving the Chu family, I reviewed everything that had transpired. It finally dawned on me the nature of this narrative. A tale of a reborn female protagonist. In her previous life, Chu Qingxi had certainly suffered due to the misdeeds of my original self. I realized that my original self was a nefarious fake heiress, responsible for countless transgressions. However, that bore no relevance to me. After all, I am as serene as a chrysanthemum. Dignity must be preserved. Thus began my long-awaited journey into the working world. The peculiar plot orchestrated every event, and the trajectory of the story was quite absurd. Regardless of where I worked, I was bound to encounter the male and female leads, Gu Nianen and Chu Qingxi. At the entrance of the largest shopping mall in Jiangcheng, Chu Qingxi posed with a peace sign, embracing a plush pig for a photo, while Gu Nianen captured the moment. Inside the costume, I emitted a muffled sound, "Sister. Could you please refrain from tugging at my tail? You've nearly pulled my pants off." On a rainy day, at the amusement park entrance, I inquired, "Is your tail number 9527? Hurry, get in the car and mind your feet." The pair stared at me in bewilderment, none daring to enter the vehicle. Unfazed, I calmly awaited their decision until Chu Qingxi timidly asked, "Chu Qing'an, when did you obtain your driver's license?" I looked up, maintaining my composure. Still in the process of testing. On the cliff swing, securely strapped in, Gu Nianen complained to Chu Qingxi beside him, "Your sister appears and disappears like a ghost. Is it because I've broken off our engagement and cast her out of the Chu family that she's now following me around, looking for an opportunity to eliminate me?" The staff member nearby adjusted his green hat and chuckled, "You are quite astute. Unfortunately, you know too much." With that, he forcefully launched the swing off the cliff. Screams echoed through the air, causing those in line for the swing to step back in unison, as it seemed the poor soul had plummeted without a harness. I raised my head, revealing my face, and with a sinister smile directed at the stunned Chu Qingxi, I remarked, "Hee hee, it's your turn now." Chu Qingxi, Jamling, pushed off with all her might, letting out a scream as the swing soared away, fortuitously sparing me the effort of pushing her. The two sat across from each other in a milk tea shop. "I'm sorry, Qingxi. I've tried my utmost, but I truly have no feelings for you." Chu Qingxi waved dismissively. "It's all right. No need for your apologies. It was never your fault. Even if we can only be friends, I genuinely appreciate you. But if you don't harbor any feelings for me, why help me?" Gu Nianen remained silent for a full 5 minutes before finally responding. "I heard about your tragic past and witnessed your refusal to submit to fate, your fierce spirit in fighting back. I see you as a girl full of vitality. And due to my own experiences, I wanted to lend a hand." "Ah, I see. Thank you." Chu Qingxi lowered her head, murmuring softly, "So, in my previous life, I can only blame my own cowardice." Gu Nianen sighed, his tone gentle as he continued, "I apologize. I truly cannot be with you, because I must marry someone I love. Yet, I can't shake the feeling that you don't seem to like me much either." Chu Qingxi nodded, "It's mutual. But rest assured, I want to continue to pursue you. I promise I want to go back on my word." A delicate, porcelain-like hand reached out to press the button on the ice shaver, halting its operation. Gu Nianen lifted his gaze, a blend of irritation and amusement dancing across his features. "Chu Qing'an, are you ever going to stop? What is it? Do you truly wish to eliminate me? If you're too timid, why not sit down with me for a discussion?" With an air of calm, I pressed the switch again, and the ice cube shattered with a resounding crack, transforming into a fine snow. "My apologies, but I am currently at work and have no time for idle chatter. No one can impede my duties, remember that, no one." I believed my refusal was clear enough to dissuade Gu Nianen from pursuing the matter further, yet to my surprise, he displayed an unexpected audacity. Lingering at the entrance of the milk tea shop until I finished my shift, as I stepped out and secured the door, he promptly approached. "Chu Qing'an, is your car here?" "Yes, why?" "Let us converse in your vehicle. My driver has taken mine to escort Chu Qingxi home." I regarded him calmly, eyeing his long legs and well-defined physique, hesitating before responding. "We can go to my car, though I must inform you that I've removed the back seat, so you'll have to sit in the front. However, that may affect my driving, leading to a rather ungraceful ride." Gu Nianen burst into hearty laughter, his mirth lingering for quite some time. "Let us remain here, then. I will not conceal it from you. I am unwell." I nodded nonchalantly, my gaze involuntarily drifting downward. Gu Nianen's expression shifted, a flicker of discomfort crossing his features. "What are you implying?" "When I say I am ill, I mean I suffer from a sleep disorder. I struggle to find rest at night, do you understand? Yet, for reasons unbeknownst to me, every time I encounter you, I sleep remarkably soundly. Thus, I wish to employ you to accompany me in slumber." I grasped the implications of his words, but was left with the more pressing question. Why did he find such solace in sleep when he was frequently exasperated by my presence? Was he truly rendered weary by my antics? Before I could respond, the foolish Han Jincheng ambled over from across the street. "Gu Nianen, What scandalous words are you uttering? I must inform you to abandon this notion. Chu Qing'an will not accompany you in slumber. He positioned himself between us, effectively blocking our exchange of glances. After casting a disapproving look at Gu Nianan, Han Jincheng produced a ceramic doll from seemingly thin air, beseeching me, Chu Qingxi, you must not impulsively agree to his proposal. Maintain your dignity. I regarded the doll in his hands with a mix of disbelief and exasperation. For years, his gifts had been nothing but this trinket. It was evident that he was genuinely fond of pottery. Han Jincheng, however, wore a bewildered expression as he scolded, Chu Qing'an, you are the foolish one, no. You are a blockhead, devoid of any expression. I internally mused, does a blockhead possess expressions? Am I a twisted tree spirit? Furthermore, was it not him who advised me to uphold my dignity? Twisted tree spirit? What nonsense is that?
Han Jincheng retorterade.
Is maintaining dignity truly that important? Gu Nianan mused, glancing at my composed demeanor, seemingly convinced that it held significance for me. After a moment's contemplation, Gu Nianan suggested, shall we dine together? We can continue our earlier discussion. I considered it and found no compelling reason to decline. Very well. However, Han Jincheng interjected, a look of disappointment etched across his face. Chu Qing'an, you have truly let me down. He has broken off the engagement with you. Can't you at least consider me? No, you must dine with me today. Gu Nianan turned to Han Jincheng, clarifying, do not misunderstand. Chu Qing'an and I are discussing serious matters. If you doubt our intentions, you are welcome to join us. With that, the issue was resolved. I regarded Han Jincheng with disdain. This was what one might call perspective, foolish one.
Han Jincheng glared at dem med, perplekst.
Out of courtesy, since these two had gathered because of me, I felt it prudent to arrange the seating. Additionally, given my financial constraints, I was acutely aware that my attire would not gain entry into any upscale establishments. After concluding the call and finalizing arrangements, I felt a twinge of anticipation for the spicy hot pot. Just as I prepared to mount my bicycle, Gu Nianan suddenly toppled forward. Han Jincheng gasped, rushing to support him. Upon realizing Gu Nianan had lost consciousness, he urgently shouted, crap. Chu Qingxi, you must call for help immediately. I nodded impassively. Of course. I shall inform them to remove one seat and prepare a two-person table. Han Jincheng stared at me in disbelief, as though I were a peculiar creature. Ultimately, he shook his head in resignation, his expression seemingly conveying that he could not rely on me. I said to remove one seat. Observing him supporting Gu Nianan while dialing the phone, I noted that when Gu Nianan finally opened his eyes, he found himself in a hospital bed. I regarded him with a serene expression. Congratulations, the surgery was exceedingly successful. However, I do have a question. May I inquire about your identity as a donkey? Gu Nianan's face darkened. Chu Qing'an, how dare you insult me? Feigning innocence, I replied, when did I insult you? Though I am indifferent to such matters. You cannot falsely accuse me. Gu Nianan gritted his teeth. You have not insulted me? You called me a donkey. I feigned greater innocence. Good sir, is it not true that only a donkey would sleep standing? Had it not been for Han Jincheng's lingering humanity, I feared Gu Nianan might have spent the day slumbering on the street. After transporting Gu Nianan to the hospital, a series of tests ensued, CT scans, X-rays, MRIs, culminating in the conclusion that Gu Nianan had simply fallen asleep. Even I, who pride myself on being composed, nearly displayed shock. It seemed urbanites had a peculiar way of referring to unconsciousness as sleep. A figure rushed into the ward, Gu Nianan's chief assistant, who, upon learning that the CEO had been found asleep on the street, exhibited no surprise, instead releasing a sigh of relief. All right, I confess, my training must have been lacking, for I expected at least one assistant to remain composed. The assistant, relieved, insisted on recounting the hardships and challenges faced by their CEO to both Han Jincheng and me. I, possessing a disinterested demeanor, had little appetite for such gossip, yet Han Jincheng, the fool, seemed particularly fascinated by the concept of sleeping while standing. I wished to tell him that if he was genuinely intrigued, he could simply observe a donkey at rest. Half an hour later, the assistant concluded his rambling, and Han Jincheng sat down, a thoughtful expression on his face. I queried, "What troubles you? Are you unwell?" Han Jincheng waved me off. "Standing for too long is a bit tiring. I shall sit." After listening to the assistant's account, I finally understood. Gu Nianan was indeed a donkey, This CEO took it upon himself to handle every task personally, making his employees quite fortunate. They received their pay without lifting a finger while their boss did the work. During this time, he had taken Chu Qingxi out on various outings, displaying affection at every opportunity. Yet, upon returning to the office, he labored tirelessly, fearful that dates might impede his responsibilities. How fortunate I was to possess such wisdom. He dared to deceive me, claiming he was ill and unable to sleep. He was not struggling with sleep, he was simply abstaining from it. Gu Nianen breathed evenly, and I acknowledged, indeed, a donkey could sleep comfortably. Just as I finished my internal monologue, Gu Nianen suddenly opened his eyes, a look of exasperation directed at me. Han Jincheng, noticing his awakening, eagerly leaned closer, gripping Gu Nianen's hand tightly. Mr. Gu, please take a good rest. I understand that your gratitude towards me flows like an unending river, but let's keep it unspoken and nestled within our hearts. Just maintain a distance from our dear Chu Qing'an in the future, and rest assured, I shall not broadcast your indiscretion of sleeping anywhere at random. Gu Nianen's expression darkened as he struggled to free himself from Han Jincheng's grip, but to no avail. I silently acknowledged the boy's surprising strength. Helplessly, he tugged at his own face, with the hand still connected to the foredrip. This scene felt oddly familiar, who had previously found themselves in such a predicament. Han Jincheng was left dumbfounded, and I, too, felt a twinge of guilt upon recognizing Gu Nianen's pale visage. When he fainted, I had assumed it was merely a case of low blood sugar, and with good intentions, I had offered him the last piece of candy from my pocket. Little did I know. Gu Nianen glared at me with increasing ferocity, clutching a mask in his hand. I wished to advise him, Mr. Gu, learn from me. Even after donning a facial mask, one should maintain dignity. It's merely a mask, nothing to be overly concerned about. After all, I had managed to keep my composure during our last encounter in his office. Suddenly, I recalled how poorly I had handled the situation when I had extracted the mask from my mouth. This was my opportunity for redemption. With enthusiasm, I clapped my hands and exclaimed to Gu Nianen, "Ladies and gentlemen, behold, the moment of miracles has arrived." Han Jincheng looked utterly perplexed, unable to comprehend the situation. Yet, as my loyal sidekick, he joined in my applause. Brilliant, I assented. Gu Nianen's face was now entirely grim, and he flung the mask out of the window. A part of me wanted to chastise him for his lack of decorum, but I decided against it. After all, he was a patient. I attempted to reassure him. Fear not, Mr. Gu. Aside from the few of us in this room, no one will know of your little mishap with the mask. Rest easy. Life does not have that many spectators. Of course, if this were to be documented in a popular book, then it would be a different story, as everyone would come to ridicule you. But that is purely hypothetical, right? We cannot possibly be characters in a book. Gu Nianen remained aloof, ignoring me entirely as he closed his eyes and tucked himself snugly under the covers. He appeared almost serene, as if this slumber would last him a lifetime. His assistant glanced between the composed Gu Nianen and me, pondering aloud whether our president might have succumbed to my antics. I waved dismissively. Oh, he has not fainted. Merely asleep, asleep. I had fortuitously aligned myself with the incomparable Gu Nianen, this extraordinary boss, as his specially appointed assistant, or special assistant for brevity. My primary duty seemed to be accompanying him in his slumber. Don't misinterpret. It was purely platonic, as he himself asserted that he slept soundly whenever I was around. Yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was merely a convenient excuse. After meticulous contemplation, I reached a preliminary conclusion. This fellow was undeniably eccentric. Though his request was absurdly outlandish, the thick envelope he had handed me made this ludicrous demand appear oddly reasonable. I chose to set aside my confounding thoughts, for I had to maintain my dignity. Once my salary arrived, I devised a plan to sabotage this whole affair. During a meeting, Gu Nianen casually produced a frying pan from his laptop bag. Everyone collectively gasped, their eyes fixed on Gu Nianen's ensuing performance. Despite my training, achieving a demeanor of serene detachment was beyond him, yet he remained composed enough to say, just a little joke to lighten the mood. Chu Qing'an, please retrieve my notebook from my office. As I turned to leave, he hastily added, I meant my laptop, not the notebook. I couldn't help but feel a mix of disdain and amusement. Did he think I was unaware? Nevertheless, in deference to my paycheck, I solemnly gestured an okay sign to indicate my understanding. After the meeting, Gu Nianen returned to his office, laptop in one hand and frying pan in the other. only to be met with the sight of an empty coffee table. Stunned, he looked at me lounging on the lazy sofa and inquired, "Where's my complete tea set?" I casually produced the large cup of milk tea I had just purchased, saying, "A scavenger came by this morning and finding your tea set a bit outdated. I sold it for 16 yuan, just enough to buy this delightful milk tea. Enjoy it while it's warm, boss." Internally, I felt a surge of triumph, thinking surely this would lead to my termination. But what a splendid outcome for all. My only concern was that he might faint from irritation, or, rather, drift off to sleep. To my surprise, Gu Nianen defied expectations, calmly accepting the milk tea. "Where's the straw?" he queried, catching me off guard. I quickly retrieved the one I had just used, wiped it on my trousers, and presented it to him. As he sipped the tea, he lamented, "Chu Qing'an, this is utterly excessive. You mustn't tamper with my office belongings." He then pointed out a peculiar ingredient in the drink. "What is this? Not a pearl, but some new product?" I eagerly chimed in, "Boss, those are popping boba, a brand new innovation." He glanced at me, but fell silent, lowering his head as he continued to sip. Once he finished, he tossed aside the empty cup, gazing despondently at his barren desk. "Where's my lunch?" I felt a wave of exasperation, but was undeterred. I rummaged beneath the coffee table and retrieved a large bag of fried chicken, feeling a pang of regret as it was meant for my own enjoyment. "Here, try this. It's fantastic." Gu Nianen stared at the fried chicken with resignation. "Can we even eat these things?" I waved my hand dismissively. "Fear not, boss. What's left that is still edible. Embrace the joys of life. Live each day as it comes." Gu Nianen lay back on the lazy sofa. "You go ahead and eat. I'll take a nap. If I sleep, I won't feel hungry." Such logic. But I couldn't help but feel a twinge of pity for him. After all, sleeping would indeed quell hunger. However, I added, "Could you kindly move to your office chair for a nap? The lazy sofa isn't good for your lumbar spine." He pondered for a moment and seemed to find my suggestion reasonable. Was I truly concerned for his well-being? Hardly. The lazy sofa was mine, after all. Where would I rest if he occupied it? That evening, Gu Nianen had social engagements, which I chose to forego, for my serene disposition was ill-suited for such raucous gatherings. When I received a call from Gu Nianen, he was already in a state of inebriation, struggling to articulate his words. I had no choice. The allure of that thick envelope was too enticing. After much internal debate, I finally mustered the will to rise from my bed, dress myself, and go fetch my boss. Gu Nianen possessed a remarkable tolerance for alcohol, remaining composed and not succumbing to drunken antics. Observing him peacefully reclined on the sofa, I couldn't help but think he looked rather handsome. Lifting Gu Nianen took considerable effort, leaving me drenched in sweat, my shirt clinging uncomfortably to my skin. After a refreshing shower, I donned a comfortable outfit, relishing the ease of being at home. Approaching the sofa, I reached for my slippers, only to find Gu Nianen staring at me, wide-eyed. I had intended to orchestrate a mishap, but not to this extent. With no other option, I raised my slippers in a gesture of playful offer. "A new sleep service, my dear boss. Look how delightful my slippers are." Before my new sleep-inducing service could take effect, Gu Nianen reached out and grasped my hand. "Don't hit me. It was unintentional. Please don't perceive me as a rogue. Rest assured, I harbor no ulterior motives. I merely wish for your company by my side." Such words carry a hint of ambiguity. I replied nonchalantly. "You offer me such a generous salary, and you intend to treat me as mere decoration?" Gu Nianen shifted his position, nestling into the sofa with his back towards me. "Well, it brings me great comfort and security, simply knowing you are nearby. Fine, I've become a dog, humanity's best friend." He continued to ramble. "Did you know? After my father sought a mistress, my mother's mental state deteriorated. She blames me for her troubles, believing that after I was born, she could no longer devote herself entirely to my father, which caused him to stray. Is this something I should be hearing? Boss, I am unaware, nor do I wish to know." "Stop right there. I am not listening to any of this. I must insist that you ensure I remain unharmed by morning." It was evident he had indulged too much, as he persisted. "After the divorce, she abandoned me for another man and had more children. I was young and yearned for her, so I secretly sought her out, but she brusquely pushed me away, insisting I keep my distance from her son, not realizing I too am her child. At last, I understood why he assisted Chu Qingxi in dealing with me. These two were kindred spirits. I glanced down at my disheveled appearance, decidedly unrefined. Ignoring his ramblings, I turned and ascended the stairs to seek sleep, leaving him to ponder on the sofa. Before I could drift off, my phone rang abruptly. With a calm demeanor, I answered, "I am downstairs, at your apartment." Tonight, it seemed, I would not be granted a peaceful slumber. After 20 minutes of mental preparation, I dressed and headed downstairs. Han Jincheng was swaying as he practiced his drunken fist. It was obvious he had partaken heavily. I felt a hint of exasperation. What was with everyone tonight? Approaching him, I clenched my fist and called out for him to cease. Han Jincheng, as expected, regained his composure and stood straight. I inquired, "Son, how much have you drunk?" He gestured with 2 fingers, indicating a minuscule distance, just this little. I nodded. Thankfully, my vision was keen, or else I might not have seen it. After that, I pulled out my phone to summon a ride, eager for him to leave. To my surprise, he leaned in closer. "Chu Qing'an, are you not even the slightest bit touched? I was the first to wish you a happy birthday." Checking my phone, I realized it was indeed precisely midnight. Silence reigns in my messages. Alas, there was no one wishing me a happy birthday at the stroke of 12. With a sigh, I pushed his face away. "You must be joking. A text would suffice. Did your intoxication impair your ability to type?" He looked at me solemnly. "I cannot wait. I wish to see you immediately." To my astonishment, he began to cry. "Chu Qing'an, you are not a woman at all. You are merely a piece of wood devoid of emotions." I regarded him with a placid expression. "Han Jincheng, do not declare your affection for me, or I shall end you." He waved dismissively, once more illustrating a distance with his fingers, slightly further than before. After a moment of contemplation, I remarked, logically, my inherently placid demeanor should remain consistent with my character. However, I must confess, I quite like you. What can I say? Our friendship spans a lifetime, and I find it difficult to take that leap. Han Jincheng's eyes brightened in clarity. "Then do not hesitate to invite me up for a drink, perhaps to see your cat perform a backflip." The car arrived, and I gently shoved him into the vehicle. He attempted to resist, but I gave him a light kick and shut the door.
No.
I already had one drunkard at home. 2 intoxicated souls would surely lead to chaos. As you know, I dread complications. The following morning when I awoke, Gun Yenin was already awake. Without any preamble, I struck hard. "Boss, I am taking a day off. Whether you approve is up to you. But I will not be coming to work." Gun Yenin cautiously inquired, "Did I offend you yesterday?" "My apologies. I was out of line while intoxicated." I waved my hand dismissively. "What happened yesterday? I have forgotten, but today is my birthday." When I met with Chu Qingxi in the evening, she looked back at Gun Yenin, bewildered, and whispered, "How did you two end up together?" What could I say? I remained silent. Chu Qingxi and I, both genuine heiresses, undoubtedly shared the same birthday. I still did not know who was the elder. Walking side by side with Chu Qingxi, Gun Yenin, for reasons known only to him, blurted out, "Chu Qing'an, thank you allowed me to sleep comfortably last night." Such words. Did his language system lack a filter? Is this even human speech? Chu Qingxi regarded me with a look of gossip. I did not even glance her way. If she sought an explanation, she was mistaken. Explaining did not align with my placid persona. Yet, I am a person of dignity. I must maintain my composure. The fee for psychological counseling is 1,000 per hour. Since you were satisfied with the service, kindly proceed with the transfer. I displayed the payment code before Gun Yenin, seizing the opportunity to earn. His wealth is aptly described. With a beep, he transferred $1 million directly. Please consider this a 3-month advance. We can settle any discrepancies later. I calmly tucked my phone away, my hands trembling slightly. Yet my face remained impassive. All was well. I maintained my dignity. Upon arriving at the gala, as in previous years, I was surrounded by a throng of impeccably dressed individuals. The sight of Gun Yenin at the event clarified matters. It appeared the alliance between the Gu and Chu families would persist. Meanwhile, I had been cast out of the Chu family, left to wander alone. It became evident to all who the intended matrimonial partner was. Chu Qingxi appeared flustered. She had never been the center of such attention before. And the crowd was indeed fervent, pushing me aside. Murmurs of malice surged toward me. She has been ousted from the Chu family and still dares to attend the birthday celebration. You may not be aware, but I hear that the imposter heiress is in dire straits, working various jobs. Do not speak ill. She possesses quite a bit of dignity, even in her current state. She turned down young Master Wang. Young Master Wang is a notorious scoundrel in Haiqing, changing partners as if they were mere garments, with a penchant for internet celebrities. Not long ago, he approached me, proposing I succumb to him, promising to provide anything I desired as long as I ceased my cold demeanor. I calmly responded, I would prefer you to leave. A genuine heiress, standing at 5 feet tall and weighing 150 pounds, pointed at me, declaring, what do you know? Do not be deceived by her aloofness. She possesses considerable cunning. What good fortune has she not attained over the years? What could I possibly say? I could only kindly advise her. The genuine heiress ought to manage her weight. After all, a heiress is defined by her status.
Chu Qingxi interject.
Frowning at the true heiress, you are all mistaken. She is not at all like that. At that moment, my mother, having heard the commotion, firmly stood beside me, gently taking my hand and soothingly saying, and I know you are sensible and will not entertain foolish thoughts. Have we not made arrangements? Once I secure this project, I will bring you home. I nodded, maintaining a serene expression as I patted my mother's back to reassure her, observing her concern etched upon her face. I softly assured, do not worry, mother. We have been mother and daughter for so long. I understand your intentions. I trust you, and as for what outsiders say, I remain entirely unconcerned. After all, I am so indifferent that I am nearly devoid of flavor. At that moment, my waist was encircled by someone, and a teasing voice echoed in my ear, you truly lack ambition, allowing others to bully you like this? It seems you are utterly helpless without me. Never mind. Today I shall shadow you throughout. Let us see who dares to speak ill of you. I turned to face Han Jincheng, who was gazing at me with intense scrutiny. Let me clarify. I did not drink excessively yesterday. I remember everything you said. I glanced at him, then at my mother. Very well. It seems they are determined to pressure me relentlessly. During the evening gathering, Han Jincheng offered his unwavering support. My mother stood by me, Gu Nianan shielded me, and Chu Qingxi linked arms with me. I must admit, I was quite the center of attention, and it is only fair to say it was quite dignified. However, what is the outcome of such prominence? After the event concluded, I declined my family's offer to escort me home, for I could not abandon my bicycle. As I rose to pedal away, having momentarily indulged in a bit of carefree abandon, a sack was suddenly thrown over my head. Shortly thereafter, a blunt object struck me, and I was plunged into darkness. When I regained consciousness, I could hear a few individuals whispering amongst themselves. What should we do? Third brother. Speak up, who is she? Wasn't she the one who was recently found? No, I heard she was the one who was driven away. You don't know? She's now Gu Nianan's assistant. It must be her. What are you two bickering about? What does it matter who she is? We have both A and B in our grasp. What is there to fear? I felt my empty pockets and could not help but remark on the professionalism of having my phone confiscated. With a black hood over my head and my mouth gagged, I leaned back against something soft, realizing there was another person beside me. The sensation of being pushed back was somewhat familiar. It must be Chu Qingxi. Sensing the trembling figure behind me, I felt a wave of resignation wash over me. I tilted my head back and whispered in her ear, do not be afraid. It's nothing serious. Just as I was about to say more, footsteps approached, and someone came over, removing the hoods from both Chu Qingxi and me, as well as the gag. As light returned, I found myself staring at a face that bore a smile tinged with malice. I knew then that our situation was dire. The kidnapper's face was unmasked. I could fathom no other reason for this than to silence us. The smirking villain lifted my chin, and I gazed at him with calm indifference. Even in the face of abduction, I must maintain my composure. It was crucial to buy some time, hoping that the police or Gu Nianan would arrive before it was too late. As for Han Jincheng, he was likely too intoxicated to assist. I shook my head in exasperation, reflecting on the absurdity of this cliché narrative. The author seems only capable of penning melodramatic tales, nothing of substance. The individuals nearby paid no heed to Chu Qingxi and me, brazenly plotting our demise. The smiling villain even inquired whether they should indulge themselves before finishing us off.
How dare they?
I am a person of grace, not a mere corpse waiting to be discarded. For the first time, a cold expression broke my otherwise serene countenance. What is merely 5 individuals? It has been a while since I engaged in physical confrontation. Perhaps it is time for me to warm up. I hope that when the police arrive, it will be as depicted in dramas, with forensic teams attending to the aftermath, though I pray that it is not our bodies they are dealing with. Turning back, I saw Chu Qingxi gazing at me in sheer terror. I signaled her to remain silent and to stay calm, instructing her to watch my performance. Before long, 3 of the 5 stood up, including the smirking villain, who declared his hunger and suggested they venture out for food. How contemptuous. They send 3 individuals to procure food while entrusting the supervision of 2 living beings to just 2. I took a deep breath, mentally chanting, "Bring the bricks, bring the bricks." Chu Qingxi nudged me anxiously, whispering, "Please, don't act impulsively. It's far too dangerous. They are kidnappers." Before she could finish, I shifted, bringing my bound hands to her view, indicating she should observe closely. "What are you worried about?" She stared at my hands for a while, unable to decipher the situation, and quietly asked, "What do you want me to see?" "Dear, it is my lifeline you should be observing, not my manicure," I pointed out, revealing a straight line with no markings or splits, indicative of my survival. Her eyes brimmed with tears. There was no time to comfort her. In the next moment, I exerted force, snapping the plastic ties silently. How contemptible. They used plastic instead of nylon. A few extra coins would have sufficed. Under the watchful eyes of the 2 thugs, I boldly stood up and approached them. With an air of arrogance, I stated, "Do you possess any intellect? Is this truly how you conduct your affairs? Does Wang Defa know you've taken me?" The 2 stood there, confused, unable to comprehend how the ties had broken. Clearly, they had not purchased those ties themselves. Wang Defa is the biological brother of Gu Nianen's stepfather, essentially her second uncle. I had learned of him through Gu Nianen. I surmised that this old rascal orchestrated the abduction to coerce Gu Nianen into relinquishing control of the company. How could he execute such a scheme? Chu Qingxi and I had already devised a plan. I would handle Gu Nianen while they would deal with Chu Qingxi. Now, what is his intent? The 2 henchmen appeared bewildered, and even Chu Qingxi regarded me with palpable fear. I addressed one of the lackeys, "Come here, give me your phone. I want to call him." The lackey, clearly not the sharpest tool in the shed, obediently approached, ready to retrieve his phone. However, the more astute accomplice halted him. "Wait. Is she your boss? Do you obey her every command? Hold on, let me consult our leader." In that split second, as the lackey turned to look at his comrade, I, with my hand still concealed behind my back, swung the brick decisively against his skull. He collapsed without uttering a sound, his eyes rolling back as he fell to the ground. I refrained from delivering another blow, for I must maintain my dignity. The other lackey, now pulling out his phone, witnessed the commotion, and in a fit of impulsiveness, charged at me. He chose to test his head against the brick rather than retrieve the ones scattered on the floor. "Please, brother, this is blue brick, not pockmarked red brick." I dusted off my hands, satisfied with my work, observing the 2 individuals, now peacefully resting on the ground. I nodded, then turned back to Chu Qingxi, assisting her in loosening the ties. Despite being something that could snap easily, she struggled against them. Once her hands were freed, she immediately embraced me, sobbing uncontrollably. I hurriedly patted her back in comfort. "Do not cry, do not cry. It's all right now." After a while, she finally ceased her tears. As I rummaged through the pockets of the fallen henchman, I was pleasantly surprised to find my phone. To be cautious, I picked up a brick and discreetly delivered a final blow to each, though it felt a tad undignified. Just as I grasped my phone, I heard footsteps approaching and quickly ended the emergency call, sending a location message to the police. I also forwarded my location to Gu Nianen, hoping he would act wisely and avoid making a fool of himself by coming here alone. The 3 individuals did not enter the room, allowing me to exhale in relief. I preferred to remain low profile. Such violent escapades are unbecoming for a young lady. Together with Chu Qingxi, I propped the 2 thugs against the wall, and we concealed our hands behind our backs, pretending as if nothing had transpired. Now, all that remained was to await rescue. Suddenly, Chu Qingxi fixed her gaze on me and inquired, "Who are you?" "You are not Chu Qinggan. You are entirely different from her." I was momentarily taken aback by her question, pondering how best to respond. Should I concede? Not entirely. Should I deny it? Mostly accurate. Thus, I settled on. I'm sorry, I do not comprehend what you're referring to. Before I could utter a word, Chu Qingxi suddenly lunged into my embrace, startling me. She murmured apologetically. I'm sorry, I've never told you this, but I have been reborn. Not only that, but I also possess a unique ability, my golden finger, which allows anyone bound to me to have their innermost thoughts heard. Bewildered, I nodded, unsure why she would divulge such a secretive ability. Chu Qingxi, noticing my confusion, continued hesitantly, It's not just me who can hear it. Everyone can. I pondered for a moment and replied, That ability is indeed rather unsettling. The person bound to you would essentially be exposed to the world. Chu Qingxi blushed, saying, Well, the person I'm bound to is you. Oh, so it's me. No wonder she claimed I was not Chu Qing'an. Wait a moment. While I was lost in thought, it was an open mic all along. Why did no one bother to inform me? I stared at Chu Qingxi, utterly speechless. She continued, Having spent so much time with you, I can see you lack her malice and scheming. Although you appear calm and indifferent, you truly embody a sense of detachment. I believe we can. I interrupted. Let me speak first. I understand that after this confession comes a deepening of our bond, but there's a pressing issue at hand. Just then, the system's voice interrupted. What is going on? Aren't you the perfect candidate for the indifferent as chrysanthemum system? Why the emotional turmoil? Where did this golden finger come from? You're playing quite recklessly. I sighed in exasperation. Come on. Why are you accusing me of recklessness? This ability was bestowed upon me by someone else. And while I may appear indifferent, I am still a living being. The thought of having my thoughts laid bare for all to hear is mortifying. I would feel utterly humiliated. I might as well find a hole to hide in. Don't panic. Let me think of a way to assist you. Before it could finish, it was forcibly logged off, citing low priority. What a useless system. A cold notification rang out. Host S character integrity compromised. The indifferent as chrysanthemum system has completely collapsed, severely affecting plot progression. Host will face a healthy punishment of 660V. Preparing, is this even rational? 660V as a health measure? Whose brilliant idea was this? What era are we in, still resorting to punitive measures? In the next moment, a tremendous electric current surged through my body, causing immense pain. Why did it even feel somewhat invigorating? Chu Qingxi attempted to support me, but I stopped her. Don't touch me. I'm currently a lightning rod. She looked alarmed and asked, What is happening? How did you get electrocuted? I shot her a resigned glance, remembering that my thoughts were now audible. I'm fine. If it weren't for your ridiculous plot and this dreadful system, I wouldn't be in this predicament. Just consider it a trial. No sooner had I spoken, a more powerful surge of electricity coursed through me. Damn, you little pest. You can't handle this, can you? Cursing you, you're playing dirty, huh? Just wait. The next instant, a red alert blared in my mind. Tasker, you have quite the audacity. Revealing the existence of the indifferent as chrysanthemum system. Announcing your mission failure. This system shall terminate you. What a flimsy excuse. Was it my fault? It was my golden finger that was exposed. And now you're blaming me? But the circumstances are beyond my control. I have no choice but to concede. System. Considering our acquaintance, how much time do I have left? A large number appeared on the system screen. 30. Fine. You're somewhat reasonable. I still have a month. That is sufficient. With my experience and wisdom from traversing various realms, I am sure to find a solution. In the next moment, the countdown began. 29, 28, 27. This is excessive. Seriously, you're quite the player, reflecting on my arduous labor and the meager savings still untouched at my mother's. I felt reluctant to give her a call. What could I possibly say? I'm about to hang up, but not in the sense of ending the call. That would devastate her. She would surely regret sending me away, burdened with guilt for the rest of her life. Chu Qingxi, witnessing my inner turmoil, was in utter despair. Sister, tell me what I can do to save you. It's all my fault. I was only thinking of revenge. I deeply regret binding you with that cursed golden finger. I gazed at her calmly. Chu Qingxi, do not blame yourself. This is not your fault. It is the author's incompetence. You must live on with the truth and tell everyone. It is not their fault, but rather the fault of this foolish author. After you leave here, live well, take care of your mother, and strive to make the Chu family prosperous once again. Remember that. Tears streaming down her face. She nodded fervently. Sister, I promise to remember. You can leave in peace. I thought to myself, I must maintain my dignity. I gently stroked her head. Do not worry. This pitiful system cannot obliterate me. I will merely be away for a brief moment, and I shall return. She held me tightly. I believe in you, sister. Come back soon. As the countdown dwindled to 10 seconds, I felt utterly defeated. It's all right. The first time isn't such a big deal. I was wrong. I was mistaken. Come forth, my elder brother. Since arriving in this world and becoming Chu Qing'an, I had never uttered this set of numbers. Now, in dire straits, I had no choice. 250-1314, I concede. Elder brother, please appear and assist me. A comical sound echoed, and my original system swaggered into view.
Ah.
You've finally come to your senses? Not angry anymore? Suddenly, it fell silent, followed by a piercing scream that nearly deafened me. What the hell? You've been cozying up to so many systems behind my back? Do you think you can ascend? Is this really the time to discuss such matters? I pleaded in a subdued tone. Elder brother, I'm a terrible person. Is that satisfactory? I truly made a mistake. Please help me. In the past, I had disregarded the system's earnest advice, reveling in my freedom in the previous world, nearly meeting my demise. Although I narrowly escaped, this fellow had a temper and had turned against me. Having created this mess, I was left to appease it. I bowed and pleaded, but this stubborn creature only grew angrier. Pointing at me, it retorted, You dare to claim me as your creation? You show me no respect. I refuse to engage with you. With no other option, I sent it a cute meme of a little boy squinting with a smile, hoping to elicit a laugh. But it accused me of mocking it instead. It fell silent and drifted into slumber. Before dozing off, it declared, You think you can vex me? Just wait until you realize you can't manage without me. Only then will I return. Despite its sulking, as a seasoned traveler through countless narrative realms, I was in high demand. It is no exaggeration to say that the line of systems waiting to sign contracts with me stretched into infinity, from cliché romances to suspenseful thrillers. Among them, the indifferent as chrysanthemum system was the most fervent, greeting me every day. If only I had wielded my resolve better and avoided binding myself to a system, my poor 250-1314 would not have been overshadowed. Yet, even as it slumbered, it could not let go of me. After all, we shared a long history. Thus, it allocated a portion of its data to protect me. This data was rather naive, thinking itself to be my progenitor, mirroring 250-1314's behavior, getting upset over trivial matters, but easily soothed, often indulging in pottery, enthusiastically gifting me various ceramic dolls it crafted. Han Jincheng remained oblivious to the fact that he was merely a fragment of 250-1314. The ceramic doll he gifted me had filled my 1 terabyte storage to capacity. During moments of ennui, I would peruse my 1 terabyte space, unable to suppress my incredulity at the absurdity of his aesthetic. Why on earth did he favor such eccentricity? All the dolls bore the same design, resembling a bronze Hercules. I recalled the scene of his confession beneath my apartment, casting a mischievous glance at the still boisterous 250-1314. Once you retrieve Han Jincheng's data, it will be a most awkward revelation, indeed. As for now, I shall certainly adopt a humble demeanor. Brother 13, back in the day, I was still youthful, my thoughts not in sync with yours. I beseech your magnanimity. After harboring resentment for so long, surely it has subsided by now. After all, although I have entered into numerous contracts with various systems, you remain utterly unique in my heart. 250-1314 continued to exude arrogance as expected. Who am I, after all? Now you comprehend my worth, do you not? I nodded eagerly, gesturing towards the crimson countdown timer. Brother 13, only 6 seconds remain. 250-1314 disdainfully curled his lip, pausing momentarily. Then proclaimed, 1 strike will obliterate your cybernetic misfortunes. 2 seconds later, an astonished voice exclaimed, What a predicament. What sort of system is this? I must investigate. Oh no. This is bad. Big brother, I implore you, spare the investigation and eliminate him first, please. Only 4 seconds remain, not 3. Hey, don't leave me now. This is it. As the red countdown halted at 1 second, cold sweat trickled down my brow. 250-1314 frolicked around me, seemingly unfazed. At that moment, my fury soared to celestial heights, my cultivation surging, allowing me to step into the 14th realm. I swiftly retrieved my spiritual talisman, a sanitary pad, from my trousers and hurled it directly at 250-1314's face. Just then, the door burst open and Goon Yenin, accompanied by a host of reinforcements, stormed in. Indeed, the police only arrive when it is most opportune. I understood that it was time for me to depart, after all. Once 250-1314 regained consciousness, we would have our mission to undertake. Sister, can you stay? Xu Qingxi pleaded, tears streaming down her cheeks as she grasped my hand. I smiled and turned my palm to show her. Look, is my lifeline not long? Fear not. This parting is but temporary. We shall meet again. Sister, I want you to stay. I don't want you to leave. Be good, my dear. Do not cry. We shall meet again. The narrative concludes here. Thank you for listening. And I look forward to our next story together.